Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson of the Breakfast Bankroll. And whether you're from Cape Cod to Cancun, from Vegas to the Vatican, we got every angle, every number covered from you from start to finish, from overnight to openers to movers and shakers. We cover it all here today. But today we are blessed with the real Vegas Dave, the one and only Mr. Dave Sharapan. Dave, my brother, what is up?
Good morning, Jeffrey. I got a special delivery in the mail. I'm wearing it right here on my head. I know you're very familiar with that. We've been up for a little while and figured, hey, it's early out in the desert. Let's get on the Breakfast Bankroll and say hello to you. So, again, you dressed up with this jacket and stuff. I'm really impressed.
Well, you haven't seen anything yet. We're saving the bow tie and suspenders for football, so we'll wait for that one. Dave, just looking at the board, we've talked about baseball the last 2 weeks, the favorites. What is going on in baseball itself? And just even last night, the favorites come rolling in at 6-4. The overs 4-2-4. Big dogs, D-backs plus 180, Cardinals plus 174, Oakland plus 137. So before we go to bed last night, we take the snapshot of the openers for the sharper guys before they release them to the public. And Vegas has had enough. They have had enough. So I wake up this morning, okay? Cincinnati minus 220, Milwaukee minus 235. St. Louis minus 200, Colorado minus 170, Buehler and the Dodgers minus 250, Snell and the Padres 210, Yankees minus 225, Rays minus 235, Red Sox and Sale minus 340, Houston minus 210, Atlanta minus 250. There's theoretically 4 games on the board. Technically, you could bet.
Yep.
With all your experience, knowledge behind the scenes, walk us through the madness.
This is crazy what's going on. But it's August, right? This is that time of year that everybody in this space, from content creators to books, everybody's getting ready for football. Okay. What does that mean? I still don't know. I've been in the books 18. I don't know what that means. We're here. We're taking bets every day. What are we doing? We're losing. That's what we're doing in the books. We're losing. These people are stringing together 4, 5, 6 teamers with all you have to do. I was sitting at home last night watching the Dodgers beat the Mets again. And I said to myself, I wonder how this is happening, right? You could have parlayed the Dodgers and the Yankees every day for the last 6 days and cashed a 2-teamer that paid 2-1 or better every day. You don't have to think. You don't have to look at pitching matchups. There's no algorithm for that. You walk up to the window and say, give me a 2-teamer. You find the numbers if they still use the numbers, and you say, give me 964 money line with 960 money line print. Whatever denomination you want, you double or better, and you go. So I think books are really, you're right. Like it's these meetings where we used to have are like, why are we losing? The favorites are winning. There's nothing we can do. There's bookies on the street crying. There's bookies in Vegas crying. There's bookies in New Jersey and everywhere else now crying. You can't do anything about this right now. You got to ride the wave. But I think for a bettor, you got to be cautious. And this isn't for the rest of the season. One of the biggest things that we talk about is that it's good right now. It may be good for a couple days. May not be good next week. And it definitely ain't going to be good in September because there's teams like Cleveland. There's teams like the Twins when they're not playing the Yankees who have pitchers and have guys that are trying to get that next contract or that first contract. And the dogs are going to be barking in September, but everybody's going to be watching football, so that one will know.
And that's the comical part. We've been saying that here for a while now is that September rolls in, the pigskins fly in college, NFL, and these races are getting so tight and tighter. These series, you got to win the series, Dave. And that's maybe another angle that you can start approaching. Hey, listen, I can't dive into minus 300 with the Red Sox tonight in Sale. Okay. They're coming off a 3-game sweep to the Yankees. I'm not saying they're going to sweep, but they got to win at least 2 out of 3 here to manage the ship here. So start maybe looking at series prices where you can now say, okay, I'm not betting Sale today, but I'm pretty confident the Red Sox are going to win, and who they wheel out the next 2 games. I'm willing to take that look versus trying to get in game to game.
That's a great idea. I love it. You got to find a book that does it. I know, it's now this is one of the best things happening in this industry. The options are expanding for bettors, and the books that aren't adapting are going to be left behind. And as bettors, we have a choice. Find what you want. If you go to the supermarket and they don't have what you're looking for, you go to the next one. And that's the way competition should breed itself. If you want that customer, you'll do the work. If you don't, you'll be In-N-Out Burger, do one thing, do it really well, and build your volume that way. Either way works, but you can't put down one place because they don't do series prices. Just move on. Like, there's so much negative space in this Twitterverse that we all live in, and gambling, content creators. Oh, the Vegas books suck because they don't do this. Oh, they don't take bets in Iowa. Everybody stop. Just go find what you want. And you're right, JD. Like, what would interest you today about Chris Sale making his what? Is his second start? It's his second start. He's 340. 340. I wouldn't take Cy Young knowing the result laying 340. I mean, seriously, that's not worth the gut sweat, the hurt, the pain, unless they win 10-0. And even then, you're like, the Angels came back from 10 down yesterday. That can happen, right? Like, the craziest stuff is happening right now in baseball. And I get amused by it because this is great content every day. And people, all they want to talk about is football, the preseason. Oh, the sharp market, this totals, all the totals went under last week. To me, it's boring. Give me this baseball. I mean, we're ramping up to the best time of year in baseball. And every year in the book, nobody's looking. It blows my mind. I just don't get it.
We've been on a real good run the last 2 months at ECSI. We saw this coming, and I'm not saying we're Einstein, because a lot of the sharper guys also saw this coming. How do we not reinvent the wheel, but how are we able to start to get in? Because the favorites were starting to come in. The prices were slowly rising, not like this. So we started getting into the first 5s. Hey, we can't get in, Dave, to a minus 200, but in the first 5, we can lay the minus half run for minus 120, 125. Had great success. Well, they started moving those prices up. So how else do we get involved? Well, start looking at team totals. This week we had the Yankees 4.5 over against the Red Sox, and they scored 4 in the second, and it took a 2-out single by the rookie batting 9th in the bottom of the 8th to get it over to 5. Oh. Yesterday, they were 6.5. It took a Stanton 2-out homer in the 8th to get it to 7. So, when the sharp guys start finding these little niches, all right, we're raising the price of polka.
This is what happens, right? It is a back and forth. And listen, there's sharp guys making the numbers, and there's sharp guys making the plays on those numbers. And it is a back and forth. And that's exactly what happened. The market has evolved, right? It used to be just side and total. Now it went to the first 5. The first 5 has always been one of those secret, like, sharp guy markets, right? Well, now it's becoming public, and it was a way to not lay that big favorite. So you laid the money line. Then the money line started to get adjusted. You can lay that half because the prices didn't correlate and you were getting a better value. Now that's going up. So what are you looking at? Team totals. That's great. I do a show with this guy named Donnie Rightside. He's fantastic with these team totals. Something I never looked at because we weren't doing those in Vegas. But now those are available pretty widespread in baseball betting all over. And it's ironic because you have these books coming over from across the pond telling us, well, we can micro market a baseball game. We can do this, we can do that. The player props, the home run prop every day. You make a number. Who knows what that number should be? Vladimir Guerrero to hit a home run today, plus 300. Shohei Ohtani, I don't know, plus 250, plus 200. Put it up. 4 at-bats, one every 3 days. Okay, there's the number. And bet it. And people bet it. So you're right. You got to keep finding different ways to attack it. But sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel, JD. You just kind of stay in your lane, do your thing, find them winners, and then get to Sunday, do the pizza parlay so you can get that envelope on Monday. I mean, that's literally what you preach, and it's just it's a process. You don't have to go into this flash and dash type of thing and get rich quick. Just the tortoise wins the race, right? Is that saying? The slow and steady is going to be just fine.
And that is exactly what we preach. And the hard part in today's game is the instant gratification. It's the prop bets of the world, like you said, the home runs. I mean, what better than to sit down watching Shotani versus the Yankees? Okay, shoot, I can play 4 of those home run props. I'll take Shotani, I'll take Judge, I'll take Stanton, and I'll sprinkle a little on Rizzo, or Gallo.
Yeah.
And just sit there. And if one comes in, you should at least break even, okay? If not, win a little. And you got the action, you got the entertainment. It's hard in our side because that's where the game's going. And we're not against it. We stick to our script. We're always evolving as well as everyone else. There may become a time where, hey, this is what we're doing, but here's the props for today.
Right.
Take a look at them, sprinkle a little pizza and beer money on it if you like, and then move on.
You definitely can do that. I mean, how about the no run, yes run in the first inning? I mean, it's got its own. The kids are calling it the NRFI. The Narifi, or the Yasifi, like yes run. I mean, it's funny. I love it. I just love the creativeness of these kids and all this stuff that people are talking about it because it brings people into the book and creates that type of environment. I mean, from a customer standpoint, you build relationships. That you've been in the game a long time. Some of the best people I know are people that have been betting for 20 years with the same guy. Like they don't even want, it's a personal relationship. I met up with some people who brought their books from where they were from. They brought them out to Vegas to hang out for 2 days as a thank you. They pay them all year because they don't win, and they bring them on a trip. It ain't a bad deal to beat a book sometimes. But you're absolutely right. The hard part is to not just jump all in with that, in that pool because it feels like that's where the party's at, right? Like that's where everything's going. And I tell people all the time, ease into it. You can put your toe in the water, see if you like it. Sometimes that pool ain't for you. You can stick to like you said, stick to the script, stay with what you know. You can still find ways to win. And I think, again, like they talk about all these investments, and there's so many guys selling this fund, that fund. Those index funds, they crank out 6 to 8% a year forever. 6 to 8% a year compounded, that ain't a bad deal. Like, I mean, it's conservative, but he ain't losing. So there ain't those big swings and those, this is an emotional thing. This is, you talk about, use that word investing. You were one of the first guys that really started saying that instead of betting or gambling. I mean, it is that's the means, but you're not on that, road. You're literally trying to invest. Sometimes you lose. I mean, sometimes you make bad decisions, bad judgment calls. Yes. Sometimes you get caught up in being a fan. I mean, I was in Fenway. I felt it. I want to be a Boston fan. Then you go watch him play against the Yankees and you go, man, what's up with this bullpen? Like, there's just so many things with this. It's sports. So as long as we keep it that way, we'll be fine. I ain't worried about it.
I'm going to take us back 2 weeks ago to the locals, the Patriots. First game of the preseason. Washington opens up -2. Game day, Patriots go to a pick'em into -1. Patriots win the game. Last night, Patriots traveled to Philly. Patriots open up -2. Wake up Thursday morning, game day. Philly pick 'em. Philly closes -1, -1.5. Now, late, same exact blueprint as opening week. Same exact blueprint. Now, getting closer to kickoff time, Philly is not playing their first team defensive line.
Yes.
And then Jalen Hurts
Yes.
is now not playing.
That's, for those of you who don't know, that's the quarterback. Go ahead, sir. Sorry.
So now Jalen Hurts is not playing, and Patriots go on to win 35-0. Now, talk to me about how – listen, I follow social media. I follow everything that I can. I don't miss a beat. I see the same numbers you saw behind the risk room. We all saw the same thing. So Philly was the sexy, public, trendy dog that turned out to be the favorite. They get absolutely steamrolled. Walk us through Pats -2 to Philly -1.5 to the results.
Well, I mean, the public don't move the number. The sharp guys move the number. And the sharp guys are out looking for the truck that ran them over last night. Like they all set that thing up nice. The odds makers put up Patriots -2. Well, obviously that's smart money. I mean, they know, remember that. They always know. I'm joking. You can't see it. If you're not watching, you may hear it. It's sarcasm. Nobody knows squadouche. That's first and foremost rule of all of this, as far as knowing inside information. So they all were all over these Eagles. That's the side. They're going to play this. Really? 35-0? They sat everybody? I mean, you can't control Jalen getting sick. I mean, everybody gets a case of the runs, little stomach pain, can't play. Okay. What was he going to play anyway? A series? 2 series? A first quarter? What was he going to do? He was going to win the game in the first quarter? No. I don't recommend too much preseason action. You'll hear that it's a sharp market, and it is. Those guys are playing it. They don't always win. They don't. They all had a lot of overs last week too. Totals went 14-3. The public won last week because everybody said bet the under, and they did. Books lost. That happens too. The books don't win every day. That's the other thing. The books had a banner day yesterday with that preseason game, though. That game stayed under. A miracle. How does that game stay under? Can't figure out how that game stayed under. It did. And you move a line from -2. The realistic possibility of that is it's 2 bets. Somebody takes Philly +2, if that's the number they get, maybe 1.5 at that time. The move is to pick. The next move is to 1. So if your limit's 5 dimes and you take 5 dimes plus 1.5 on Philly, you go to pick. Somebody else bets you again, you go to -1. And you sit with it. Now, if you're the book that rides with the sharp side, you don't move it back. You could take 100 bets on New England and never move the line. So I think we got to be careful as people in this space to tell people cautiously respect the line moves, but don't look too much into it. Sometimes it's just not there. What you're seeing is not really the reason why it's moving. But I know last night, preseason football is not a big market. There's not even close to the liquidity of money on preseason football that there is on a good baseball game. Red Sox Yankees did more handle than that preseason football game in some places. Some places will tell you they did $1 billion in handle. I was in the books for a long time. There wasn't a lot of people betting a Thursday night game, standalone game, preseason football, New England, Philly. There just wasn't. Maybe there is in other places. I don't know. But for a number to move like that, that was not Joe Public moving that number. That was a bad guy that somebody respected. Some other books said, whoa, that line moved. We better move it. And it all moves. The market drifts. 35-0. 35-0. A kid, the Patriots, you guys look like you may got a quarterback. You may actually have a couple. I'm a little nervous now. You guys might be back after a 1-year hiatus. I got to listen to this Patriot crap again. Man.
Oh. I mean, the locals, with the Cam, okay. So we'll go back to last weekend and the Rooks and the QBs. I mean, the Lawrences of the world, the Zach Wilsons of the world. Those two are starting. We both know that there's no one behind them. Right. And even though Urban's trying to say, well, it's a competition, Minshew might start. We all know that's false. Now, Trey Lance hits an 80-yard bomb, and then he's 4 for 15 the rest of the game, but there was 3 or 4 clear drops. Okay. I think Jimmy G's minus 300 to start there. Cam played 2 series, and then the kid played the rest of the first half, Mac did, and he started the second half in the hurry-up office. Cam Newton's minus 250 to start over Mac Jones. And then Justin Fields, okay? And the kid's electric. The kid's making all the throws. And meanwhile, Andy Dalton's sitting there, and this week saying, hey, Fields is going to be an amazing quarterback, okay? But it's my time. My time. So I'm watching all these shows. I'm listening to everyone jumping on the value, Dave. Value's only value if you cash the damn ticket, period, end of discussion.
Period, end of discussion. That's it. You're right.
They're holding Justin Fields. They're holding Trey Lance's. They're holding Mac Jones. Give me the starters, Dave.
I'm still looking for the place in the book, that window to cash that closing line value. That's CLV. Because I've been in books all over the country. I ain't ever seen a window to cash the CLV, because you can get all that value and stuff. You just said it. Period. End of story. If it don't win, it don't mean that much. It really don't. And the guys, it's almost a badge of honor now. There's a lot of sharp guys that've been sitting in the front of the class talking about, man, I beat the number again. I got you. Well, okay, that's great. Did you win? No. That's all the book really cares about. That's it. So that's all you should care about, because you can get all the best close. I've seen a lot of good numbers lose, a lot. That's a weird market for me, Jeff. I don't know. I get nervous about even looking at it, because is Belichick going to start the kid? I don't think there's a chance in hell. You live there. You live it, breathe it. I mean, from a distance, for me, from seeing it in Pittsburgh and then moving out to Vegas and watching it this whole time, he ain't starting that kid. He's going to make that kid earn it. He's going to take his shot with Cam being the veteran that he is, that he can trust right now. There's no question. So do you want to bet that? I mean, you could take a shot, but I don't see it. Fields is a different story to me. Andy Dalton, I mean, he's a good dude. I give the Red Rifle credit. I mean, he should say it's his time. He should just say it at home, like when no one's listening. Like, you don't got to do that. Like, I get it. But this Fields is like, it's got Chicago excited. I think it has odds makers a little bit like, wow, I know I look at him and go, I'm impressed. I saw what he did with the Ohio State against Northwestern when 28 guys were suspended. They told him a couple days before, hey, you ain't going to have nobody. You got all the walk-ons. We're going to teach the kids. You draw the patterns up. We're going to try to run the ball and win the game. Really? I'm showcasing for – this is the Big Ten championship. We're trying to play for the BCS champ. We're playing for the title. Everybody's sick. You can't – that's what we got to do. I was more impressed with that than some of his highlight plays all season. I think the kid's got it. So if I'm going to take a shot on one of them, it's him. That's it. I mean, but I'm with you. Trey Lance isn't starting. There's a process. There's a procedure. I don't think they give the kid the job day one and alienate Jimmy G. You start. You've seen this, right? Patrick Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith. It's just the way it is in most cases. So don't get too excited about jumping in and getting that big plus money, because it ain't going to matter. I'm more interested to see for like season wins. If the sooner Fields gets in, the more games I think they can win, which would mean bet the over, because it's 7 or 7.5. I mean, if you know Fields is playing and I'm in the book, I'm moving the number to 8.5. So not worth another win. I think they got a shot at being 500 if he's playing. pretty simple. Maybe I get caught up in it too. I don't know, but that's the kind of stuff I'm thinking about. Who's starting? That's a coach's decision. I don't feel like I have an edge betting that.
And I'll close on this topic on the Justin Fields, just on this. Chicago travels to the Rams opening day. Okay?
Yeah.
So Aaron Donald, he's unguardable. I don't care. You put two guys on him, it don't matter. Would Fields be able to get out of the rush, maybe make some plays? Sure. But the fact of the matter is that if you let Andy take the beating, because the O-line in Chicago still is not great, okay, so it's okay. It's okay, because even if Justin started, I think the odds of them winning is better, but the odds of them actually winning that game is not good in my eyes. I don't know your thought.
I agree with you. I think the line's right? 7,
yeah.
In that neighborhood. Because the question for me is the Chicago defense as well. I'm not sure what I'm getting yet with them. I know what I'm getting with the Rams defense. It's top 3 in the league, and you got the top player in the league in him. But as a coach, right? And, this is another thing I draw from every experience and people that I talk to every day, not just from people in the book, people behind the counter. I'm talking about being on a field with kids and putting them in a position to succeed, putting them in a position to fail. But sometimes, you know what? You got to put them in a position to test themselves. If Justin Fields is putting in the work and Nagy's on the sideline going, you know what? This kid's ready. We're starting him against the Rams on the road. And we're going to see what he's going to do, because the expectations, he's supposed to lose. So if he goes and wins that game, you got not only Nagy, you got the whole team, you got the whole city going, we got our guy. So when he loses at home to Detroit and throws 3 picks as a 9.5-point favorite, he may get a pass for a day, because that's going to happen too. That's the reality of being a rookie quarterback in the NFL. You mess up a lot. But there's a certain 1 or 2 unicorns that get it from the beginning. Everything's moving faster. Everybody's an all-pro. I mean, you in college, you can outrun the kid, at Northwestern chasing you down. You can't outrun the worst guy on the Lions. He's going to catch you. Everybody's a pro at that level. So I am not opposed to, if Nagy believes it and Fields believes it, that we start at the Rams. Go for it, kid. Let's go. Me and you. That's what I'm telling my kids that are pitching. We show up in California. We're plus 800 dogs when we walk on the field. I look across the dugout. I'm like, wow, these kids are big. That girl's throwing 65. I can hear it. I don't need a gun. I can hear it. You guys ain't going to get a hit. But you know what? We're still going to play. Well, that's what the Bears going to do. At some point, I don't think they're going to do it in week 1. But it would be cool if they did. And again, if he goes and leads them to just a competitive game, if they cover, that's my quarterback. That's my quarterback. And it ain't Andy's time. It's Justin's time.
All right. I'm going to try to pull this up here for you. And let's see if we can make this happen, my friend.
What are you doing? Production and hosting the show? Look at you.
Yeah. Anyone in the production team, send an email to eastcoastsportsinvestors.com. I will gladly talk to you. I got some interesting. This is the spreadsheet from Don Best.
Yep.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4 games in the first weekend of college football. And then what's really nice about is week 2, which is the Labor Day weekend. And hats off, because they got the some big names in there really to intrigue you to get ready for that weekend. And so,
are you talking UMass and Pitt? Is that one of the games you're talking about? The 38-point game?
There you go. Absolutely. And then I was going to bring up UConn. Can you imagine Fresno State being a 27-point favorite over anyone?
Come on. Come on. Where do they get these numbers, JD? What's going on?
And all the stuff that's going on with Nebraska and Scott Frost, hidden fields of practice, hidden and assistant coaches. And listen, I am a Nebraska diehard from way back, from Dr. Tom to Turner Gill to Urban Fryer.
I didn't know this about you. What are you talking about? I couldn't stand those teams. As a Penn State guy, what? Oh, go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
What I was so in love with those guys, Dave, it's 4th and 8. We line up in the wishbone and we tell you we're running it, and you couldn't stop it.
It was amazing. You're right.
You're right.
You want to talk about staying in your lane? Nebraska football stayed in their lane for a long time, but to their detriment, they needed to adapt and didn't. And now they go and do the flashy hire. Scott Frost, good coach, right? Like, I mean, he's all in. I mean, that's a guy who I can imagine being in a room with going, I'm going to fight for that guy. I'm going to run through a wall for that guy. And now they're trying to get him on this stuff. I mean, who knows what's going on? This NCAA is going to look a lot different in a year or two. I mean, we ain't going to have conferences. We're going to have super conferences. We're going to have kids making more money than the assistant coaches. We're going to have all kinds of deals. Maybe me and you will get an NIL deal. Maybe we could do that. We go back to school like Rodney Dangerfield.
No, that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. Yeah. So we got all this action in front of us, and here's the Saturday, really the Labor Day weekend card. You got some big names there. You got an LSU UCLA. LSU's at UCLA. Opened at 3.5, currently at 4. Georgia Clemson. Clemson opened at 3. Saw some 5s, now down to 3.5. And in the futures market, there was a lot of talk this week about it. Alabama goes from plus 300 to plus 250 to ring the bell again. Georgia goes from plus 800 to plus 600.
Yep.
So this is where I needed you to talk about some common sense here. They open up as 3.5-point dogs to Clemson. Georgia does. Okay, on a neutral field. The line goes from plus 100 to 600. So if Georgia loses this game, which you guys are kind of telling us they're supposed to, the first game without Trevor Lawrence, Dabo's another one like Bama and Saban, they just reload. Okay, yep. They're going to start 0-1.
Yep.
So if you don't think Georgia's going to beat Clemson, why would you buy the future that was 800 to 600? Why wouldn't you wait till they lose game 1 and get the better price and then move in? Unless the futures market is telling me, hey, guys, they're going to start the season 1-0. And if they beat Clemson, look out.
Whoever bet that, JD, is thinking that Georgia's going to win, right? They're taking the 8-1 because they think they're going to win the game, and that price has to drop if they win that game. So they're getting it now. Now, the same guy may be going, I'll bet Clemson on the money line and win the first game. If they don't win, I got this Georgia ticket, and that's live. There's a bet behind a bet behind a bet all the time with the bad guys. They're always constantly putting themselves in position that is what, to use your word, investing. The futures market is more an investment than anything. Think about it. Throw it back to baseball. You could have had a Shohei Ohtani MVP ticket at 30-1 or 20-1 or something. Looks pretty good now. You also could have had a Mike Trout ticket that was toilet paper. So it goes both ways. But I think this is unique that we got some big games, right? Clemson, Georgia's a big game right out of the gate. It's exciting for college football. It's exciting for the books. It's exciting for bettors. As from the book standpoint, you put the line up early. I mean, this first week, these lines feel like they've been up since, the game ended. We put these things up earlier and earlier and earlier. The funny part is nobody bets it. There's minimal action on this right now. So it's a lot of, fodder for content. We have discussions about it. What do you think about the number? I mean, the number, again, there's sometimes it just looks right. Clemson minus 3.5, 4 against Georgia looks right. I don't know what I'm getting with either team yet. First one out of the chute's hard, but there's guys that actually, do pretty good in the beginning. And I think this is another kind of lesson that I just learned over the years. The bettors have an advantage at the beginning on certain things. If you can find those weaknesses, you find those soft spots, get them now. Because as the books have to adapt, and it's their livelihood, the numbers get sharper. They don't get worse. They get better, and you may catch a number here or early that's bad, but in October, it's going to be tougher. By November, it's really hard. It's really hard. And as bettors that, follow you and get the show and all this stuff, it's a lot harder to win in November and December than it is in September. So it's even harder to win in week 3 or 4 than it is in week 1 or 2. So I think you got to use the future market for what it is. Can you imagine how many tickets you could have on every team in baseball in the AL East to win the division, let alone win the World Series, and all the various prices you could have? I mean, back in June, when we were visiting, we were talking about the Nationals and them having a show. We got a great ticket on the Nationals. Well, we didn't know that everybody was going to get hurt and they were going to ship everybody out. Okay, that one's gone. But we also probably have a ticket on the Phillies, on the Braves. We don't have a ticket on the Mets. I wouldn't have let you do that. But again, college football, 6 teams can win it, JD. Probably, right? 6 teams in the future market. Is Georgia one of them? I don't know.
And I'm just going to – you can't see it on the bottom of the screen. I think I'm going to ask you 2 things here. Notre Dame, Florida State. Notre Dame opened at 7.5, now 8. Listen, I don't like to play the emotional part of a game. I don't like to go down that because back in my younger days, that's when I would always lose. I'd try to play the mind games with myself,
Yep.
The pancake games, the look-ahead games. Hey, This guy's out. Hey, by the way, they were out partying last night, yada, yada, yada. But right. I look at a Florida State team. Bobby Bowden has now passed away. And I know these kids that are playing for Florida State, some of them probably don't even know who Bobby Bowden was. But for us, he was a legend. That guy would come on the field. The horse would come on with, and boom, and and it was. I get chills.
Yep.
I get chills.
I do too.
Do they ride that emotion? And is that 8 a great number? 8. They keep it within a touchdown. They're a cover. So I know, again, that's the late game on Sunday night. So they got it all set up. They got a late game. Crazy to think of something like that. Or, Notre Dame is Notre Dame, and they'll methodically win by 10 or more.
I think you said it best. Bobby Bowden, to probably every kid at that Florida State program, is a picture on the wall, is a statue that, wow, he coached here. But it's not – they can't use that on the field. And, I mean, Notre Dame, sometimes in sports betting and stuff, and this from going through the battles over these years, Notre Dame is that team for me. They're a lightning rod. I want to bet against them pretty much every time they play. Just can't help it. You either love Notre Dame or you hate Notre Dame. And you see this number, this is the story. The number's perfect. Because if it's less than 7, they're going to lay it. You got it over 7, and now you give everybody a pause. You're trying to find that point where the bad guys are coming in. I think that point is 9.5. I don't think you can't show a 10 because they're going to come in droves over the top to come play plus 10. My initial thought with that game would be to take the points, not because of Bobby Bowden, but because we got Notre Dame on the road. And not that they don't win on the road. None of that matters. You get these stats and trends from years past, and you can make the numbers say whatever you want. This is the first game of the season. It's on the road. It's a lot to ask to win by more than a touchdown. Now, will Notre Dame win? I probably say yes. Just the talent level is probably that different. and the continuity of the coaching at Notre Dame has been the success to them getting to play the big boys in the playoff, but then they get waxed. They get destroyed in those games. And those numbers, I mean, when Clemson played Notre Dame or Bama, whoever it was in the playoff, was one of the biggest bets I ever made was on the favorite. Sometimes the favorite is the right side. Like all this, like, oh, you got to take the dog, to be a sharp guy. No, sometimes the favorite's good too. Like they win. That's how this business works. If the dog's always covered and people only bet favorites, there would be no business. So I think it's a great game. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for college football, probably even a little bit more than pro, because the college football experience for me, going to Penn State, being at bowl games, going on the road and seeing them play in Ohio State. I've never been to Michigan. That's one place I want to go, but it's fun. And I think as bettors, you get caught up in it. I don't think it's a good idea to maybe bet that narrative, but man, I can't wait to watch the games and the pageantry and see that horse come out. I do hate that Florida State chant though, that because it reminds me of the Braves. Braves beat the Pirates in the early 90s. I don't like the tomahawk chop, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to go from there to the Monday game, the Labor Day game. The Ole Miss train offensively supposed to be a juggernaut. That's all I hear about. They opened up the under over, David, 74.5. It's at 75, 75. So I know, and you know what? Everyone's going to be betting the over. And this is what happens, 20 to 20, 20 to 20, 20 to 20 field goal, 20 to 22 field, and then the over bettors are sitting there. The Ole Miss team total is probably going to be around 38 in the hook, and they'll land at 37. Mm-hmm. And as you just stated, it's opening day, guys.
Yeah.
But might take a few possessions to get your sea legs. So I thought that number was comical, but I can't let you go without, we got to talk about it. And we'll even add 12 p.m. kickoff, rotation number 165, Penn State.
Yeah.
Versus Wisconsin, opened at 4.5. Seeing 4.5s all across the Vegas Strip. Yep. And then our buddies at Circa, they're laying a 5.5.
Yep.
Give it to us.
Wisconsin's got to be the side. I know it. Listen, I love Penn State football. I've had so many good experiences, and I watch the games, and I want to see them do well. Wisconsin's one of the hardest places to play in the country. I have to go back through and look to see how many people they have returning, because there's a lot of question marks in a lot of positions for Penn State. They're supposed to be good too, though. Like this may hopefully end up being a field goal game that Penn State could win. But when I see that number move for that opener at Circa, and I know the boys there and I know what they need to do to move the number, that one is one that, like, if you want a number to look and kind of pay attention to, watch those openers, because Circa took it from the beginning and said, we're going to open college football numbers on Sunday. While everybody's doing pro football, we're going to lead the market with the numbers. It's great because they've been off by 10 points. They don't care. They're just trying to take the bets on the ladder up. They put out the first number. I know they put this number out, and I see the movement. Okay, we better keep an eye on this one. So okay. I'm telling you right now, we'll watch it as it gets closer to kick. But if you're asking me right now for a side, it's painful to say, but it's Wisconsin.
And a Penn State team that started off so bad, but they came on late and they had a nice run. I love the coach. I love the program. I love everything they do. There's nothing better than a Saturday night and the whiteout. I mean, that you can't. Oh. My daughter had 1 foot there, and then she chose UConn. Well, my youngest has got 1 foot there. I don't know if she's going to choose Penn State, Syracuse, or UConn. That will be a show in itself. So,
wait, yours is a junior, right?
No, she's wrapping up.
Senior.
The youngest is a senior. She's going to be a senior this year.
I got a junior. I was going to say, if we could get the next generation of Dawsons and Sharapans at Penn State, I got all the places to go and hang out. As old men, we'll have a good time, and we can go visit the girls. That wouldn't be a bad deal. I mean, let's keep that one in mind. If she ends up there, we could do some things. I'm just saying.
No, and like I said, I think she wants to diversify from CIS, so stay away from UConn. There was a hard lean to Michigan, and I'm like, listen, you go to Michigan, we drop you off Labor Day weekend, and we see you on Thanksgiving. I mean, that's all, Penn State, we can create a weekend or two for the whiteout and some other things.
Oh, yeah.
Syracuse is a tough one because that's that 8-hour drive, and that's a weekend thing. The UConn thing's great. It's 2.5 hours. Turn on Sirius Radio, go have dinner, watch a game. And when you come back, if you're in the area, I do have the season tickets for the men's basketball team. Who's going to be?
I'll be back.
I'll be back. Real good. So catch that. All right, my brother. In closing,
yes, sir.
Give everyone.
Wait, did we just bang out 47 minutes of content? Like, this is what we do every day. This is unbelievable. There's no script. We ain't even got TikTok. How do we do it? I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, sir.
And no dancing girls yet either. So maybe that's the future.
We could see if we could do that.
They don't want to see us in Speedos, so that won't work.
No.
So.
We got to draw the line somewhere. We ain't doing no Speedos. No, not yet anyway. We got to get on the program if we're going to. We got maybe one shot of a Speedo left in our time. Be a hell of a photo shoot. I can tell you that.
Maybe at the cabana at the Circa with the girls around us.
Oh, we got something to shoot for. We got to start working on that. We got at least a year away from that photo shoot, but put that one in the back pocket. We got to keep that one in mind. I like where you're at with that.
We're getting so close to Labor Day weekend. Football's right around the corner. We've talked about baseball being priced out. Just as you know, at ECSI, we try to educate, but we do entertain. We do crack jokes. We do smile, laugh, and everything. Can you close by trying to help out the newbie, the one that might be getting caught up in social media, the one that might be getting caught up in all the prop game, the instant gratification? Give them a Dave Sharapan, side. You've been back there for 20 years. You're living in Vegas. You eat, sleep, drink this, see this every day. Help out the newbie. Help out the person that wants to get into the slow lane and maybe just take this day by day, unit by unit.
Listen, man, that's exactly what you're doing. And I tell people that all the time. I mean, people came up to the counter literally for 15 years and said, how do I do this? And I would be like, all right, what do you want to do? Well, I want to just bet the game, and I want to, all right, well, do you want to bet the side? Do you want to bet the total? And you just kind of walk them through the process. So kind of, one, don't be intimidated. I mean, and if you sign up for Jeff's service, sign up and just read. You get this email every day. It's you talking. You can hear it. It's great. If you don't like it, go try somewhere else. It's fine. There's other people doing it. Just don't get caught up in all the flash and dash of something else, because most likely you're going to be disappointed. With you guys at ECSI, I mean, you're literally just trying to, one, have fun, but two, win money. Like, that's the name of this game. And I love Envelope Monday. I love the saying because it's a double entendre, because there were times that we were picking up or dropping off envelopes every Monday or Tuesday. Like, that was real. And there's still guys on the street doing it. So you want to pick up more than you want to drop off. If you just stay in the slow lane, pay attention, you got to really play everything too. Like, you can't select this and, I don't like, he gave out the Yankees today and I hate the Yankees, I'm not betting them. I mean, if you do that, it wins, you're going to be mad. If you do it and you don't do it and it loses, you're not an expert. Like, it's just stick to the plan and go along with it. And while you're in it, enjoy it. Like, There's a lot of ups and downs in this. You bet that yes run, no run in the first inning and it wins or loses, you go crazy. There's the 8 more innings. Like, there's other things to bet on. And you know what? There's good days to take off too. You know what? On a Tuesday, if you're not doing nothing, go have lunch with your kid. Go get your wife flowers. There's other things to do. And that's the other thing that I think comes across with you. You're like, look, I'm doing it. I'm here. I'm going to be watching it. You don't have to. Just ask me. You always say, reach out. I'm available. You mean it. There's a lot of people that are full of squadoosh. They tell you, email me, call me. And you do, and they ghost you. So all of that being said, ECSI is a good place, and you're continuing to do – you're not doing God's work, but you're close. You look great, and you're doing the right things. It's fun, and I think people can learn along the way. You put a little piece of money in their pocket every week. I like envelopes.
And you kind of hit the nail right on the head when you talked about the buffet line. That's what I call it. Is I can't bet against the Red Sox. They're my favorite team. How can I take the Yankees? And our good friend Carl Newby sitting there and goes, I can't believe I rooted and the Yankees scored in the bottom of the 8th inning for us to cash a ticket. I'm going to hell. And it was so hilarious. I said, hey, you willed it home, and it happened. And that's the whole part. Because once you get into the buffet line, I'm going to take this one, but I'm not taking this one. The one you took lost, the one you didn't take wins. You know how it works, and that's what happens. Of course.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny. There's no – you can still be a fan and bet against your team. It's okay. They don't know, and they don't care. You could be a fan and bet on your team. It ain't going to affect one thing. But you can keep it fun. For 97% of the people that are doing this, it's kind of a recreational side hustle, fun way to be involved in a game when you can't physically do it anymore, and you don't want to go sit in the freezing cold at a stadium and do all that other stuff. You put a bet on a game and you feel like you're part of it. That's what this is. And for the 3%, 4% of people that are doing this professionally, that know everything, those guys know everything anyway. You can't tell them nothing. So the ECSI, that's not for you. We're here for the 96%. Come on in.
Dave, tell them where they can find you.
First and foremost, on Twitter, it's the Sportsbook Consigliere. It's at SportsBKConsig on Twitter. I put all the appearances on there. Every week, we got a podcast. It's called Cash Considerations. It's at Cash Consid Show, where we bring in a guest, we talk about gambling, and we have fun. We don't got no algorithms. We ain't got no models. We're talking about odds and games and teams, and we bring in people from different parts of the country. They give us crap. We give them crap, and we have fun. We fist bump, bro hug on the way out, and we're good. So that's what we do. I'm on Sports Grid in Sirius XM 204 every day, Monday through Friday, from 4 to 7 Pacific, 7 to 10 Eastern, where we watch games and talk about the lines. You talk about – it's a pretty good gig. It ain't bad. And I don't know everything either. But it's fun talking about it and what I'm seeing, with my expertise, whatever that's worth. So we do that. And then got a little gig on doing some MLB network stuff. We got, I wear these crazy hats and talk about baseball all the time, which is like really between baseball and hockey. Those are my favorite sports. I love all sports, but that's the first ones that I started playing. Started playing hockey when I was 4, started playing baseball when I was 5. I didn't get into football until I was 7. So they got me first. They're my longest lasting relationship, baseball and hockey. Longer than anybody. MLB Network. We're going to appear there for the rest of 2021 whenever they call. We want to talk to you about this. JD, if you call me, I answer the phone. That's what we're doing, brother. And stay tuned. I don't know what's next, but you can follow Sports BK Consig. We'll know.
Always a blast. We blink in it. We're 55 minutes deep, going to wrap it up in an hour. As you said, unscripted. I mean, we could talk for hours, maybe, Sirius radio, hello, we're over here. So with that said, listen, I can't thank you enough. It's a joy just talking back and forth, talking numbers, talking stories. That's what we do, and that's what we enjoy. It's not work. It's only work if you don't enjoy it. And for us, this is not work. This is just something we have a passion, a dedication, a desire. And here at ECSI, we're just trying to spread the wealth, as we like to say, just trying to educate you, keep you on the right side, and maybe, as you said, put a little pizza and beer money in your pocket and an envelope Monday on Monday.
That's it, brother. That's it. For a lot of people, this is a job. For us, it's our life. Has been for years, still is, still going to be. We'll be here. Call us.
With that said, if you are going to bet or wager today, always bet with your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, reach out. There's a 800 number. Plenty of people there to help. From myself and Dave, wishing everyone an amazing day, a better weekend. Best of luck, and always stay positive and stay in your lane.